Hello and welcome to the 2024 World Baseball Network Awards Roundtable. I'm Daniel Fox, and we've assembled our team of writers and content creators to break down one of the most exciting MVP, Cy Young, and Rookie of the Year award races we've seen in quite some time. We're going to be going through all of it and tell you who we got to take home some hardware. And we're going to start with probably the headliner, which is the AL MVP. A lot of talented players, and two of them at the top of the list, Bobby Witt Jr., Aaron Judge, having historic seasons. But our writers were unanimous in who they think should take home the AL MVP. And for that, I'll kick it over to Brandon Kramer. Who do you got, Brandon?
So I'm going to put the bias aside. It's not really close. Bobby Witt's had an incredible year, but Aaron Judge has the ability or the chance to do something that hasn't been done since Barry Bonds, which is have a slugging over 700. Judge is currently on a 3-year stretch where he has an OPS over 1.1. Also to consider, Judge started the year in the month of April at an awful pace. He wasn't hitting above 200, barely contributed, and then went on probably one of the best 4 to 5 month stretches that we've seen in recent memory. It's not just the average and the home runs. It's his on base as well. It's at 458. The next closest is Soto at 418, and no one else has an on base percentage above 400. He's getting on base. He's also being intentionally walked more than he has in his entire career. It's really not close.
Should be noted that Juan Soto, Aaron Judge's Yankees teammate, finished third behind Bobby Witt Jr., who posted a 30-30 season with a league-leading 334 batting average. Gunnar Henderson was fourth, while Jarren Duran of the Boston Red Sox and Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians were both tied for fifth. Let's move over to the other side. Last year's MVP was Ronald Acuna Jr., but he did not place in our rankings after tearing his ACL in May. That means there is a new champion on top of the National League. And like the AL, it's unanimous. Alfred, who is your pick for NL MVP?
Yeah, my pick for NL MVP was everyone else's pick for NL MVP. It's Shohei Ohtani, and much like what Brandon just said about the Judge winning it in the AL, it's pretty much not that close. You look at Shohei, of course, 50-50 season. He's now at 53 home runs and 55 stolen bases as of today. 301 batting average overall, and on-base percentage pretty nice at 383 as well. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. And every time you turn on the TV, this guy is just must-see TV. It's going to be spectacular what he does at the plate. The next closest bet was probably Francisco Lindor, in my opinion, and probably a lot of other people's opinions. And he's had a great season in and of himself. He's near 30-30, 31 home runs, 27 stolen bases. But like I said, it was kind of a just who can finish second at this point. Shohei Ohtani is going to win this NL MVP and one of the most, if not the most historic season in all of baseball history.
Alfred is correct. It was Francisco Lindor unanimously coming in second. He's been a huge part of the Mets' resurgence this season and unanimously came in second, but Shohei Ohtani 50-50. It's hard to beat that. Ketel Marte, Marcelo Ozuna, and Elly De La Cruz rounded out the top five. All right, let's move over to the pitching side of our awards. And we'll start with the AL Cy Young. And I know you're tired of hearing me say this, but it was once again unanimous at the top. Brendan, I'll kick it right back to you. Who did we all pick for AL Cy Young?
So this one is not close either. It's Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers. If people didn't know his name before the season, you definitely know now. He's been the best pitcher in all of baseball. Not only has he truly transcended from his last year, which was cut short due to injury, but he has a whip under one, which for a lot of people that don't know, he's not walking people. And in a league now where it's all about velocity, 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 he has also a batting average against of 205, which is one of the lowest in the entire league for qualified pitchers. Yes, you could say he's pitching in a extremely pitcher friendly park, but his splits on the road versus home are quite similar. He also has a stretch of at least think it's 16 starts this year of at least 6 innings and no runs. The splits, as I mentioned before, for away games, he has an ERA of 2.86. Of course, at home, it's 2.13. But the thing with Skubal is he has probably the best changeup in all of baseball. You know what's coming, and you still can't hit it. And he's a big reason why the Tigers still have a chance to make the postseason right now. If not for him, especially after they sold off, he's kind of like this generation's Verlander for Tiger fans.
So Skubal, of course, was all our writers' pick for the AL Cy Young, but I actually want to go over to Alion because I'm looking at your ballot now. You had an interesting pick for the runner-up. We haven't seen a relief pitcher win the Cy Young since, I believe, Eric Gagne in 2003. But you think Emmanuel Clase of the Guardians is going to come pretty close?
Yeah, Daniel, that's correct. I did have Clase finishing second. Although I didn't pick him, I can see the argument for a player like Clase. It's been since 2003, like you said, since we've seen a relief pitcher win the Cy Young Award. But Clase has just as good of a case as any relief pitcher. The .63 ERA is obviously what stands out, but the 46 saves and it's time to give him his flowers. I mean, he's been an all-star 3 straight years. He led the majors in saves the last 2 seasons, and he has a chance to become the first player ever to lead it 3 consecutive years in a row. So although I think Skubal will be the ultimate pick for the Cy Young, I think Clase has had a wonderful year, and I think he's given himself a shot to at least be in the conversation.
All right, so that's it for our AL Cy Young. Let's kick it over to the NL, but we're actually going to stay on the left-handed side of the rubber because 7 of our 8 writers picked this resurgent lefty to win the Cy Young. We'll get to who didn't pick him in a second. But Alfred, why are we all going with Chris Sale to take home finally his first Cy Young Award win of his career?
Yeah, talk about a comeback with Chris Sale. It looks like he's back on Boston again, but this time he's in the South playing for the Braves. And I mean, his numbers are off the charts. 2.38 ERA, 225 strikeouts and 177 and 2/3 is crazy stuff. He's striking out batters left and right. It's one of the best strikeout rates I think we're seeing in the league right now, at the very least. Doesn't really get hit hard that often. The walk rate's really good, right around 5.5%. He doesn't walk guys that much either. And an 18-3 record. He is pumping gas right now for a team that lost Spencer Strider, their go-to arm most of the time. And he pops in and he's made the Braves, who are kind of on the fringe of playoff territory right now. He's kept them in the mix in a lot of these games and kept them competitive. So to me, it's pretty undoubted. I know there's one writer out there who thinks differently, but I think like I speak for most of us when we say we got to go with Sale here. His stuff has been incredible, and it's great to see after, injury trouble and not necessarily knowing if we'd see him back in his 2018 form again, come back into that form once again in Atlanta.
Yeah, you said it, Brandon. There's only one writer who did not pick Chris Sale, and we're going to take it over to Sid. And I just got to ask, Chris Sale leads the league in ERA, wins, and strikeouts. Why are you not picking him for Cy Young?
Number one, I mean, wins is something I don't think that's that important to look at. You're obviously run support, something huge that comes into play when you're looking at wins. So I understand he's got 18 wins, super impressive. But I don't think that's all you need to look at. It's really easy to look at ERA and be like, okay, he's the best pitcher in baseball. He is not. The best pitcher in baseball is pitching in Philadelphia right now. His name is Zachary Wheeler. I actually don't think it's particularly close either, to be 100% honest. I think he is the clear Cy Young. Since week 1 of the season, he's been top 3 in everybody's mind, and he's continued to be right there the whole year. Some stats I like to look at: who's got the better whip between the two guys? That would be Zach Wheeler. Under 1, that's really impressive. Another thing to look at: who has a better opposing batting average? Also Zach Wheeler. Not actually that close. Who pitches more innings? Zach Wheeler. He's the mark of consistency. Since the 2022 playoffs, he has been a top 5 pitcher, and I think this season he solidified himself as the best pitcher in the MLB.
All right, well, let's move it over to our most contentious award of the day. That's going to be AL Rookie of the Year. We had 3 different players earn multiple first place votes, I should say, including two guys from the same team. Anthony, we'll start off with you. You went with the pitcher Luis Hill. Can you tell us why?
I really think that this year's AL Rookie of the Year race is probably one of the closest out of all the awards. In my opinion, it's got to be one of the two Yankees, and in my pick is Luis Hill. I think he had so much pressure put onto him when he had to take over Garrett Cole's spot on the Yankees rotation when Garrett Cole was coming back from injury, and he definitely succeeded at that. Over 146 innings pitched, he has a 327 ERA with 166 strikeouts. That's 10.2 K per nine. Like that's insane. Like for someone just to come back and replace Garrett Cole, I think he did a really solid job. I think he earned a playoff spot. And I think he's an extremely valuable asset to the New York Yankees team.
Well, from one Yankee fan to another, from one Yankee pick to another, Brendan, you are representing the future backstop of the New York Yankees, Austin Wells. Why does he deserve to win Rookie of the Year?
I agree with Anthony. This is extremely close. But there's a case that Austin Wells has been the best catcher in baseball since June. He started the year off extremely slow, but was the most unlucky player in baseball. But since the month of June, he's had an OPS at least over 750, and since July has had an OPS over 900. Since the Jose Trevino injury, he's been the everyday catcher, only missing about a game every week. Not only is the defense, he is the fourth best catcher in terms of framing, of course, with Trevino being number one. But also as a cleanup hitter, he's hitting over 360 as a cleanup hitter for the Yankees. And when it comes to high leverage, he has a WRC plus of over 130.
We're going to stay in the AL East. Sid is our representative from the Colton Cowser, aka the Milkman contingent. Why did you pick him to take home AL Rookie of the Year?
You know, clearly there's a lot of bias here. We've seen the hats, and those have kind of been the thing that have spoke loudest about their two pitches. I understand wanting to give the award to a pitcher. He's had a terrific season. The Wells argument doesn't make a ton of sense to me. He just has not been as good at the plate over his whole stretch of games. Cowser has a better batting average, more RBIs. He's doing it on a team that doesn't have, you know, we thought Stanton would be one of the best hitters too, but two of the best hitters in baseball. He's doing it on a team that's young, has really proven themselves this year. Yes, they were great last year, but he's been an excellent addition to the team. And yeah, I think we just saw a lot of bias there, and it shouldn't be listened to by our audience. Colton Cowser is your AL Rookie of the Year.
Just shout out Wilyer Brave from my Boston Red Sox. He's going to win a Gold Glove out there in right field with some power. So he's not going to win Rookie of the Year, but it's been a solid season for him. All right, we're going to wrap things up with an absolute stack, probably the most stacked rookie class we've seen in some time. Look, you have Mason Wynn from the Cardinals having a fantastic season offensively and defensively. Shota Imanaga, who's been terrific in his first season in the United States. Jackson Chourio just went 2020 as a 20-year-old. But none of those guys got a first place vote from our writers. Again, we had 7 of 8 choose one player and one deciphering vote. Alion, you picked Paul Skeens, who was the overwhelming favorite. Why is he going to walk away with NL Rookie of the Year?
The only argument against a player like Skeens would be over a guy like Merrill or Chourio is that he didn't start the year in the major leagues. But this is a guy who started the All-Star game. He was named an All-Star as a rookie. You don't even have to look. You don't even have to go into the stats. You can just flip on the TV and see that this guy is dominant every time he takes them out. And if you want to look at the numbers, 1.99 ERA in 22 starts is absurd. Multiple no-hit bids. It just, you don't need to go really deep to see that Paul Skeens is not only the best rookie in the National League. Next year, when the season starts, he's going to be in the conversation for the best pitcher in the National League. And at his age, he's only going to keep getting better.
Well, Sid was once again the deciphering vote. He went with Jackson Merrill for his NL Rookie of the Year over Paul Skeens. Tell us why.
Yeah, I did Jackson Merrill NL Rookie of the Year, and I actually do think this was a really close pick. I went to Merrill because number one, I value position players really highly, and he's a guy who's played all year. He's batting 292. I think the Padres are maybe in a better spot than any of us would have thought if I told you that Tatis wasn't going to be playing. This guy's really stepped up and played great. And it's also hard for me to vote for somebody who, the best thing about them is their girlfriend. So I'm a big fan of Jackson Merrill, and his popularity has come from the way that he plays baseball, which is the way that we should be voting on this award. And he's had a terrific season, and he's the reason that the Padres have really been contending with or one of the reasons that the Padres are contending with the Dodgers.
All right, well, that's all we got from our roundtable for our award predictions. Thank you all for joining me today. Great discussion. You can check out this and so much more content at worldbaseballnetwork.com. For Daniel Fox, we'll see you at the next roundtable. Have a good one.